All right, number three, we have James Corliss here from the Sacramento Area Council of Governments, going to give us a brief overview. The Sacramento Area Council of Governments, otherwise known as SACOG.
Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Council, thank you so much for having me up here and on your agenda.
Thank you. Yeah, that is much appreciated. 22 cities and 6 counties that are members of the Council of Governments, and some of you may be familiar with us, but I just thought, again, since there's some new faces on this council, I'd take this opportunity just to reintroduce you a little bit of our organization. We are your Council of Governments. We represent the region. I'm actually still somewhat new, year and a half on the job. I actually came from Washington, D.C., where I ran a nonprofit, and I worked with sort of mid-sized metropolitan regions all across the country, and had never lived in this region before, but have completely fallen for it. It's a very special place, and I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the things we're up to. I hope you know the role that we feel very proud to have played in Fifth Street Bridge. These were actually 2 successive funding awards for this bridge. Lots of some other time I will explain to you all the kind of the backflips and the gymnastics that our staff did with the state, with the feds and everything else. But we're delighted to see the Fifth Street Bridge getting rebuilt. We understand what a vital link that is between the 2 cities for all kinds of reasons: commerce, emergency preparedness, evacuation, etc. But the other thing that I wanted to impress upon you all, and I'm really delighted that your staff is participating, is in something we've just kind of kicked off the last couple of years, and that is to really try to figure out how can we bring innovation and creativity to the public sector. How can we think differently to solve today and tomorrow's problems? We will never have enough money to actually, to use the old way of thinking about solving problems. And so we brought a program called Civic Lab, and it really is, think of it sort of as a mini university to try to solve the pressing problems of our 6-county region. The first year we did Civic Lab, we took on the issue of transportation, and especially of public transportation, but really in kind of suburban areas and smaller cities. This was a really interesting team that sort of assembled with Rancho Cordova, Sac County, City of Sacramento, Folsom, Citrus Heights, looking at the problem of sort of suburban first last mile. How do you get that sort of first last mile, that first last 2-3 miles in suburban regions like in eastern Sacramento County? Here's one solution to that, which I think is really fascinating, and we work obviously very closely with Keith and Yuba City Transit up here. But this is a private provider named Via. This is a pilot project in West Sacramento. It is run by your phone or call on the telephone to do door-to-door service. It's basically sort of if Uber and a fixed route bus had a child, this was what it would look like. So it's on demand, it's very high tech, it goes door to door, but it carries more than just one passenger. Hopefully we're getting 2, 3, 4 at a time. We've had tremendous stories out of West Sacramento, senior citizens that have said, I go see my friends for the first time in a decade because a woman who said, I go buy ice cream because I could never have it not melt on the 3 buses I had to take home, but now I've got door-to-door service. So I'm getting ice cream and I'm getting fresh fish for the first time in decades. So these are the kinds of services that maybe could be complementary to some of our fixed route transit. And it's a problem that we really do need to figure out how to solve, which is how to make public transit work in the 21st century, where maybe we don't have the population density of the big cities to make it all work. Here's something that we're really proud of. This is an autonomous shuttle. This is the future. We are going autonomous. It's not going to be here tomorrow. Although Thursday, I will tell you, you're welcome to come down to Sacramento State, where we're going to launch. This is Ollie, the autonomous shuttle. Actually, right now, a couple of these are running around the Sacramento State campus. They are taking pictures. They are learning the map of the campus, and they're going to open their doors later this week to students. It is very low speed right now in terms of making sure it's safe. Lots of the parts of this shuttle were actually 3D printed. We are one of 2 regions that won this first test. And the fact that the SACOG board, and I just really want to recognize John Buckland in the back there, really pushing a lot of our innovation and laying the groundwork for this. But our board put money down that we were able to very quickly use as local match, and only the Sacramento region and Phoenix won the first 2 tests of this local autonomous shuttle. So it seems far off, it seems far away, it seems sort of Jetsons, but this is what's coming. And we have to understand how to basically deploy autonomous vehicles for the good, because they could actually work well for us, or they could actually work not so well and create even more traffic. So we've got to be on top of that. The second year of Civic Lab has kicked off. This year, just in the last month, we've kicked off our second year because our teams have liked this program so much. I'm delighted to say Yuba City, you all have a team in Civic Lab, and we're taking on basically infill development and the revitalization of old retail corridors. So Bridge Street is your corridor. We have 5 of 6 counties. We have 13 teams. And then again, the notion is we're trying to bring some of the best minds in the country to help you solve your challenges. Only you know your local challenges, but we can provide some of the best kind of development folks that do performance, folks that understand small business, folks that understand placemaking and bicycling and walking and transportation. In a couple of months, probably around May or June, we're going to do a really exciting thing we call a marketplace. We're working with the Urban Land Institute, and we're just going to bring developers from all across the country and set up your teams to actually have prime kind of property sites with willing property owners that want to do something different and rethink their property. And we're going to have some of the I think the most innovative developers in the United States give your jurisdictions and your staff some feedback, right? Here's what it would take for me to actually rethink this and maybe redevelop some of these sites. This is an exciting program, again, just kicking off. It'll last through the fall, and we're really excited to kind of showcase the geographic diversity of the region in this second year of Civic Lab. This all adds up to another pilot program that we really want Yuba City to participate in, because you've got Bridge Street, you're in Civic Lab, it's a perfect fit. Without going into the full backstory, the state of California has given our region a very strict greenhouse gas reduction target to meet. We've got to reduce and show the state we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions from passenger vehicles by 19% per capita by 2035 in our upcoming transportation plan for the region. The only way we can do that we've said to the state, is to basically accelerate infill development, accelerate transportation options like I showed you with that shuttle, and accelerate the deployment of electric vehicles. We're not saying no, but we're saying to the state, you got to help us. We're willing to play, but you have to help us on this. And so we've developed a program called Green Means Go. We're going to be going into to the state legislature, asking them to become a pilot project to 6 counties, including Yuba City, so that we can experiment and test some of these things. We think we ought to be not the backyard, but the front yard of the state capitol. We should be out here testing different ideas and approaches to things like infill development, and then open sourcing it, letting the state understand what we've learned. This is, again, some of the projects that we have seen popping up around the region. Unfortunately, infill development is very, very hard to make work in our region. We basically have Bay Area labor costs, but Sacramento region price points. So there's a financial differential that we have to fill. There's all kinds of other barriers and restrictions that make this kind of sort of compact housing more expensive and hard to pencil. But we think we can take a serious run at this year, and that's part of what we're trying to do through the Civic Lab program. And so that you get intersections like this, which you could see just about any part of our region, any jurisdiction will have a million of these, and we could see it begin to sprout innovative ideas such as this. And again, we're trying to partner with the private sector, trying to bring some of the best minds, the development community, not just around the state, but around the country, as well as homegrown local developers, to help us think, how do we solve this problem? How do we provide housing options, housing choices for all ages, all income levels, and really create more vibrant, 24/7 kinds of communities? Again, that map I showed you, we're really proud of the diversity showcasing Yuba City, but pairing you with places like Roseville and Rancho and Loomis and West Sacramento and Citrus Heights. Yes, you're all different. Yes, you all have your own very unique characteristics in these corridors, but frankly, there's a lot more that unites all of these places. And that's, again, the theme of the Civic Lab Year 2 program. So I do want to say, and Mayor Harris, thanks again for the invite. Membership dues, you all pay us membership dues. We really appreciate those dues. It's a small part of our budget, less than 2%, but it's a critical part of our budget. It's the only part of our budget we can use to do state and federal advocacy. The Civic Lab programs I just told you a little bit about. We do study tours to Maryland and Virginia every year before the Cap to Cap tour back to DC. We've done a Friday tour because I have a lot of folks that I know back there. We've been going to suburban jurisdictions, learning about what they do. We went to Denver, Colorado a year ago, and we're planning for more of those. All super helpful in terms of your membership dues. We actually have, and I'm really delighted to have been at the kickoff of a Youth Leadership Academy. We're taking high school seniors and juniors and showing them what regional planning and regional economics really means. And then finally, of course, as a council of governments should, we have a lot of shared services. We're building joint procurement, fuel contracts, HR, all kinds of things that it is far more efficient when we all get together and we do joint procurement as a region, as a collection of local governments, than if we just do it one-off. I'd offer all of these. I know your staff knows about them, but I just tell you a little bit about why we think we're providing some value added. And honestly, for me too, just again as a relative newcomer, how important the Yuba Sutter region is up here as part of our larger 6-county region. And I'll tell you, we worked with your city and many others to put a grant proposal forward to the state to do an economic prosperity strategy driven by your jurisdictions for the 2 counties, all the cities within. What's the future economic roadmap? How do you make jobs? How do you keep your quality of life? And we're going to fold that in. If we get the grant, we'll fold that into a larger regional effort. So just a couple of dates to have in mind, then I'm done. I'm nowhere near as brief or as eloquent as your first 2 speakers. Hard act to follow, but just some dates to know. Next Tuesday, February the 26th at 5 p.m., we are doing a bit of a workshop on our long-range transportation plan for all the elected officials in Sutter County, Yuba City, Live Oak. So that's we'll get that invitation out to you next Tuesday, February 26th at 5 p.m. I mentioned a bit of this infill incentive program. We are trying to get funding from the state to provide those incentives. We really would love to get a pre-application from Yuba City. Your staff knows about this for this Green Means Go program. We're trying to make that honestly as simple as possible, not trying to be bureaucratic. It's a 1-page application. Tell us your hopes and visions. Tell us your visions for Bridge Street or infill development or electric vehicles or the future of mass transit in Yuba City. And we'll put those into a larger regional application to the state to try to get this thing to happen. The Civic Lab program, I mentioned the developer marketplace. There'll be opportunities, I believe, for you to sort of witness and see what your team is up to. I haven't mentioned much about it, but we are working very closely with the Chamber and Greater Sacramento Economic Council on a regional economic prosperity plan. We hope to have that released this summer or fall. Each of the counties will have to approve this. It's what's called our CEDS. Our Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for the 6-county region. And finally, our transportation plan, gobbledygook, lots of acronyms, MTPSCS. This is super important, even if it's a lot of acronyms. It is not only the place where we have to hit that greenhouse gas target, it's the place where all the transportation projects come together in one place and get funded, and we move forward to the state and feds for funding. Final plan adoption, February 2020. Again, Mayor Harris, delighted that you are the representative for Yuba City on the board. Look forward to working with you, and if I can answer any questions, I'd be happy to. I just want to thank you very much for your time.
Just a comment. I've had the opportunity to attend SACOG as Mayor Harris's alternate, and also at the Policy and Innovation Committee meeting that was held while the mayor was out of town. And I just want to thank you and your staff. Very welcoming, very accommodating, very patient with questions, a lot of information, but all really good stuff. And I think the whole notion of acting as a region, whether it's within our close region or just regionally, is going to be huge for this city. It has been, and I hope that it will continue. But I wanted to thank you for taking the time to come up here and present to us, but also thank you for the kindness and the patience you've shown when I've come to your meetings.
And I was just going to echo that as well. As James, I've only been to a few meetings myself, but the professionalism, the openness in which I was accepted into the fold, and the education you provided so far. I think John said it best when he says it's not drinking from a fire hose, it's drinking from a fire hydrant. And I think that's pretty much sums it up. And I want to take the time to likewise acknowledge the work and effort that John clearly put in during his time at SACOG. The relationships he established there have definitely paid dividends, and I appreciate that. And we're looking forward to working with you. I do have one question on the Green Means Go. Of course, we have a unique interest in Bridge Street here. Is there any next steps that we can do as a council or a city to help see that to fruition at this point?
So here's the interesting, and this is a couple of observations. I didn't even give you that many. Again, as a relative newcomer, I don't think we are nearly as powerful in the state legislature as we need to be. They don't even know where half of our jurisdictions are. So we need to get together as a region, and we're going big on this program in order to get them to understand that we are serious, we mean business, and we're aspirational. We're asking for these pre-applications by March 15th. We would love it if you as a council could pass a resolution in support of the program, because the more I have of those, the more we can impress upon the legislature that, again, we're a region and we're serious and we mean business. Will we be successful? I don't know. We're going to give it everything we have. So again, those two things, the pre-application, your staff is already aware of this, and on top of it, I'm sure it will come back to council. And if you could get a resolution, simple one, it would be just fantastic to show the legislature just how serious, again, our region is. We need to stick together. I think the other thing I was just going to say, and it sounds like you understand it, but I believe from working in regional planning a long time, local control is absolutely important. You make the decisions. It is your city. It's your future. But just like I coached my kids in soccer, we're a team. As a region, we have 28 players. There's no way that we can win one by one. There's no way that we actually just win just playing by our own set of rules all the time. So it's always that kind of delicate balancing act, right? But I'm absolutely convinced that your two counties and the cities within up here are just critical to the success of the larger region. We actually have gone out of our way to redo a lot of our data to make sure, even at the national level, folks like the Brookings Institution do an economic analysis of the region. They're including Yuba and Sutter, that you're not just sort of an afterthought, that you're part and parcel of the 6 counties. So that's how important it is for us as an agency in a region.
Well, very good. Thank you. I believe we do have a resolution in the works. Is that correct? Yeah, I thought so. Very good. Thank you very much, James. Really appreciate you driving up. And did you?
Yeah, through the
Okay.
mayor, I just have a question. So in the Green Means Go, so you're going to cover that on the 26th a little further, or it's just?
We'll cover a little bit there. That'll be in some ways about the long-range transportation plan. I'd be happy to answer questions then or now.
Well, I can wait until the 26th, but just in interest of what you mentioned, the next steps and the importance, and so I'd like to learn a little bit more
Sure.
about that on the 26th.
Happy to.
Thanks.
Yep.
So Mayor, I think we need a point of clarification. So City Council has a workshop on the 26th, that's for budget and transportation. That's separate than SACOG's elected officials session on the 26th.
And I believe it's just
City
about
manager?
exactly the same time.
Is it a conflict in time?
Yes.
All right, we'll look into that.
Will you have
That
the
was
opportunity?
unintentional. If
Right.
if I've got the right time.
Perhaps in the interim, we can go ahead and answer Councilmember Espindola's question now, since she was going to ask that.
I was hoping to receive a little bit more outline of what he explained on the 26th, but,
The
I
Cal-
don't have all the information to be able to qualify my question well.
Well, you have a business card. Maybe you can.
Oh, I'd be happy.
There you
to.
go.
You know where to find me.
There you go. All right.
We'll look into the workshop timing just to make sure there's not a conflict. I might have it's possible I put the wrong time on there. If that's the case, my apologies. But we'll make sure that somebody can attend it. If not, we'll reschedule.
Thank you very much, James.
Okay.
All right.